Hello and welcome everyone to our live demo for Gmail and Hangouts.
Yeah, thanks for registering and for your questions that you've been sending in.
I'm Lauren and this is Matt. We're both Google Apps product specialists. I'm based in New York City and Matt is in the Mountain View office. To get us started, a fun fact about me is that I actually have been a bit of a migrating Googler. I started out in the Cambridge office and then the Ann Arbor office before coming to the New York City office.
Yeah, I like playing beach volleyball and apparently marinating in the sun. So I'm a little sunburned today. I'll be walking us through some Gmail tips and tricks so that you can be more efficient and take control of your inbox.
And later, I will show how Google Hangouts brings your conversations to life with free video conferencing, screen sharing, chat, streaming, and more. We want to make this session as useful as possible for all of you. So in other words, please ask a lot of questions via the Q&A app you should see on your screen. You can ask a question on the right-hand side of the Hangout on Air and post a question there. Click Ask New Question at the bottom right corner of the viewing window. And then just type your question in the text box and click Submit. And then after the Hangout, we'll provide some links and resources you can reference. And at the very end, we'll have a survey for you to let us know how this demo went and what you thought of it. So take it away, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Lauren. Let me go ahead and share my screen here, and I'll start going through some Gmail tips and tricks. So to get started, if you want to follow along on your own web browser, I'll share the link with you here so that you can do that. In just a moment. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. And if you want to pull that up in your own browser, you can go to support.google.com/a/answer/6010214. That'll bring you to this landing page called Gmail Tips and Tricks. And as you see, there's 4 different levels of tips and tricks. We're not going to be able to go through all of them today. There's about 10 in each level. But I can get through probably about 10 or 15 of them. And if you have any questions, please feel free to just submit it using the Q&A app, and we'll try and get those answered as well. So to get started, I'm going to level 1 here. And we're just going to, today's session is just to cover the basics. So if you know some of these already, that's great. But we're going to be getting everyone up to speed here. So some of these may seem a little simple. The first one I want to talk about is keeping track of conversations. So you may have heard of a conversation view or used it before in webmail. If you're using Outlook, though, or a different third-party mail client, you might not have conversation view enabled by default. So basically what that does is you can see in this image that I have 3 different email messages from Casey, Sandra, and Alice. And they're all showing up in the same thread or the same view. And that's what conversation view is. Instead of having 3 separate emails all in their own view, they're all going to be grouped together based on the subject of that message. So it's just an easy way to stay, everyone collaborating together in the same thread. Next, we'll talk about how to use Gmail search. So this image here is of the search box at the top of your Gmail inbox. Let me switch over to an inbox here and show you what that actually looks like. So here I've got my inbox up, and you'll see at the top this search box right underneath the google.com search box in the browser. And this one is just for my inbox. So at any time I can type in contact's name if I want to look for all the emails from a specific person, or a subject, or a keyword, or anything like that, or even a label. We'll get into labels in just a second. The other handy thing here to note is the drop-down arrow on the right side. So if you click that, you'll be able to see lots of different ways to search for the mail that you're looking for. You can even narrow it down to specific folders or labels as you search. So that's the Gmail search box. Next, easily view and save attachments. So you'll note that at the bottom of your email, whenever you get an attachment, there are a few options, and you can choose whether or not Gmail automatically shows any images in your messages. But once you get an attachment, it looks kind of like this image here. So as you hover over it, you'll see the title, the size of the attachment, and then a couple options. You can either download the message right to your computer, or you can click the Save to Drive button, the little drive icon that looks kind of like a triangle. And that'll save it right to your drive in the cloud, so you can access it from anywhere you have your drive. Okay, next is how do you tidy up your inbox with Archive? So Gmail is special in that you don't have to worry about deleting messages, moving them to specific folders to clean out your inbox. Basically, you can archive any message, and it'll store it in the archive, and you can always search for it later. So you never have to worry about deleting your messages. Gmail gives you plenty of space, so you don't have to worry about running out of inbox space. And you'll notice at the top, the archive button has a little down arrow on it. And just to show you what that looks like here, let me open up the message. And it's right up here, a little down arrow. Okay? So that's what archive looks like. And then you'll notice if I do hit archive here, it'll remove this inbox label that's currently attached to this message and take me back to my inbox. Okay? Next, this is how to actually delete a message. Like I said, you don't have to worry about deleting a message, but in the case that you want to, you can click the little trash can icon, and it'll move it to your trash label for about a month. After that, it'll automatically be purged, and you won't be able to access it anymore. So usually I would recommend archiving the message instead of deleting. Okay, we'll go through a couple more on level 1 here. This one's really important to get rid of the spam messages. So Gmail's spam system is pretty advanced, and it learns from how you train it. So at the top of every message, we've actually added this option to mark a message as spam. So you can see here I have a message from Rainbow Shops. I didn't sign up for an email list. So for me, this is spam, and I'm going to click this Report Spam button. And that'll teach the Gmail system to always mark these type of messages as spam. It also gives me an option to unsubscribe and report as spam. So that's an easy way that you can take control of your inbox and make sure that you're only getting the messages that you actually want. Also note that every one of these tips or tricks has a link at the bottom to a Help Center article that'll give you a lot more details and information about this particular topic. Okay, so number 8 in level 1 is about starring your emails. So this is an easy way to mark a message so that you can find it more quickly later on. Or maybe you want to use this as a kind of to-do list. You star it, meaning that you have an action to take, and then you can unstart after you've done that action. So let me show you what that looks like. If I click on a message and I'm in the message view, the star is over on the right side. And if you click on that once, it'll add a yellow star. In the inbox view, it's on the far left side. So you can start either way. And then you'll notice on the left side, these different tabs or sections let you jump right to a specific type of message. So if I click on start, it's going to show me all my starred messages here, for example. All right, so that's it for level 1. Lauren, do we have any questions from the audience that I can answer now?
No questions right now, but just a reminder to everyone to use that Q&A app on the Hangout. I know some people have joined us a bit late, but there's a Q&A app. Just click it. It says Q&A. It's like a blue bubble. And just ask us your questions. We're here to answer them. We want to know what you have to say. So feel free to submit.
All right, then I'll keep on going here. I'm going to jump over to level 2, and again, you can go back through these at any point in time. I'll read you this URL just in case some of you arrived a little late. You can go to support.google.com/a for apps/answer/6010214. And that'll take you to the landing page for all these tips and tricks that I'm going through today. Just as a note, these are also available for anyone new to Gmail as a setup wizard or onboarding in-product widget. So you can always access it that way if you're new to Gmail as well. Okay, so going on to level 2, this is a big one, and it's how to organize your inbox using labels. So you can see here in this image that there's a few labels that have been set up. Conference is a label that's been given a yellow background. There's a do label in green, a presentation label in blue, and a red label follow-up. These are all different labels that have been set up, and just to show you how that works, let's set one up now. So say I want to create a label. I click up on the labels icon. It looks like a little tag or a label. And then I've got some built-in ones that come with Gmail by default. I want to create a new one. We'll call it from my boss. So I'll label it boss. I want to make sure I don't miss any messages from my boss. Okay, I'll hit create. You'll see it show up over here on the left side. And then I can customize it from there even further. So I could pick a color, let's say red. And I can even set it to show or hide based on how I want it to act. You'll notice now that there's a label up here on the top, and if I go back to my inbox, I can even see it there in that view. So it's a really easy way once you get your labels set up based on senders or subjects to really call out specific emails in your inbox to help you get through them more quickly. Okay.
So, Matt, I have a question. How are labels different from folders?
Good question. So labels are unique to Gmail. So you might be used to folders if you're coming from a third-party client like Outlook, for example. With labels, though, you can do even more than with a folder. You can label a message with multiple labels, and they're always going to show up on any message. So you don't have to worry about moving every single message to a specific folder. Just tag it with the labels that you want and archive it for later. And you can always go back and search in the Gmail search box like we talked about. You'll also notice over on the left side that if there's any unread messages in a specific label, that those are going to show up on the left. So if I mark this one as unread, now my boss label on the left shows that little 1, meaning I have one unread message with that label. Okay. So next we'll talk about filters. Filters are an easy way to manage incoming mail based on a subject or the sender or different fields. So let me show you how to create one of those. So I could do this for my boss. If I had any messages from, let's see here, let's go with SketchUp. Let's just pretend SketchUp is my boss, and I want to filter any messages from this sender. I click on the drop-down arrow over on the right side. I say filter messages like this. It'll automatically put the sender up in the front. I'll hit the next, the create filter with this search button at the bottom. I'll apply the label that I've already set up called boss. And I'll also apply it to the matching conversations that are already in my inbox. And once I hit this create filter button, now my filter's set up. And anytime I get a message from my boss or that sender, it's going to automatically label it that way. So that's how you use filters. And you can really fine-tune your inbox a lot by using filters. And you can really focus on the important messages instead of having to worry about every single one. So again, click the link at the bottom for more information from our Help Center, and that's always accessible from support.google.com/A for apps. Okay, next up, I wanted to talk about attachments a little bit more. So you'll notice at the bottom of any new message that you'll have several options as shown in this image for different types of attachments. So I want to show you what that looks like. And this is another really great way to send big files. You don't have to worry about any file size limit because every Gmail account comes with 15 gig of storage free. And you can even upgrade with our Google Apps Unlimited package to have unlimited storage. So if I compose a new message here, you'll see that there's several different compose options. That's actually the first tips and trick that we didn't go through, so you can go through that on your own later. But down at the bottom here of this new message, I've got a few options. I can attach a file from my computer, from my Google Drive, which is how you can use really big files. You save them to your drive, and then you can just insert them using this button. And once you click that button, it'll allow you to select any files from your drive right there. Also, you can attach pictures, links, or emoticons. All right. Yeah, here it says you can send files up to 1 terabyte, which is the equivalent of 1,000 gigabytes, which is bigger than any file I've ever seen. So I don't think you have to worry about storage space with Gmail. Next up, I'm going to go to, this is on level 3, tip number 4. So we're getting a little more advanced now, but I think these are important for our enterprise users. You might be wondering how to set up a vacation responder. So anytime you're out of town, it'll automatically reply to the sender and let them know when you're going to be out of the office and when you're going to return. So their expectations are set as far as getting an email back from you. So anytime you want to set up any sort of setting like that within your Gmail inbox, you'll click on the gear icon in the top right corner. That's your settings button. And then you'll go down to the settings menu. And that'll load all of your settings tabs. So the one we're talking about now is down towards the bottom under the section called Vacation Responder. So all I'd have to do is check this box to turn it on. I would give it the dates, when to start and stop. The stop day is optional. You can just turn it on and leave it on until you turn it back off. You can give it a subject like, I am currently on vacation. And then you would type in your message here, setting expectations. You can even set different options for if your contacts should be the ones to see it or only people within your domain. And then once you're done with that, you would hit save. And anytime you receive a message, the sender would get this message in return. So that's an important one to keep in control of your inbox. Okay. One other one from level 3 is tip number 5. And this is how to change your inbox type. So there's a few different types of inboxes that you can use. Let me show you how that looks. So again, if you go to the settings, and then under the inbox tab, you can see here next to inbox type, there's 4 or 5 different types of inboxes. So the one that I use in my personal inbox and my work inbox is called priority. Again, I encourage you to read up on the different types of inboxes here. Like I said, my personal option right now is priority inbox. And so it lets me create different sections. So I actually have 3 different sections by default in priority inbox, and it'll just put them in a different order so I can go through them in the order that I want to. Again, please read some more information on this in our Help Center. You can find the link at the bottom of this tip. It's called Inbox Styles, and it'll really let you customize the way that you go through your inbox. Okay. Before I get into the Gmail security checklist, I just wanted to check again, Lauren. Are there any questions that have come in on the Q&A app?
There are no new questions, so just another reminder, click the Q&A app and ask us a question. If you have any questions for Matt or myself, anything you're curious about, need more clarity on, just let us know. It's just that blue Q&A app on the Hangout on Air, and type in your question and click Submit.
All right, thanks, Lauren. So the next tip is kind of a big one. It's actually the first one in level 4. So if you click on Become a Gmail Master, you'll see a brief overview of how to help keep your account safe. This is a checklist that goes through about 9 different steps on things you can do to secure your account and prevent anything bad from happening to it. There's a lot of bad guys out there that have been known to hijack other people's accounts and send out spam to all of their coworkers. It's not a fun place to be in. So I encourage you to follow these steps. I'll go through a few right now with you in the next few minutes, and then I'll hand it off to Lauren after that for the Hangouts portion of this demo. So the first one in the Gmail security checklist here is to create a strong password. You're going to want to make sure that you follow these recommendations, like using a password with a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols to make it harder to guess. Try using a phrase that only you know. There are some links here that will help you set that up, and there's even a Do It Now button to take you right to that page. And then once you're done with that, you can click the I'm Done button, and it'll take you through to the next step. Okay, another one that I wanted to point out is how to check your account for unusual activity. So at the bottom of your inbox, you'll see a few helpful tips. One is going to be how to manage your storage space and how much of it you're currently using. And then over on the right side is one we're going to talk about right now, last account activity. If I click the Details button here, it'll actually show where I've logged in from, when, and even the access type. So you can see here that I've been accessing it primarily through the Chrome browser from California, and you can even see the last login times. It looks like it's even been logged in from New York. That was probably one of my colleagues there. So the key here is if you get a notification that or any sort of signal that you may have been compromised, you'll want to click this Sign Out All Other Sessions button. And that'll sign out everything except for the current session that I'm in right now. So that's a really good way to make sure you lock out any bad guys. Okay, next let's go to, skip through a few of these. Number 7. This one is my top recommendation, and if you remember nothing else out of this demo today, I hope you remember two-step verification. This is the best way to keep bad guys out of your account. What it does, after you set it up, you can use it on your phone as a phone call, an SMS message, or the easiest way is to use the Google Authenticator app. You just install the app on your phone, and then when you log in from an unrecognized device, it'll prompt you for a 6-digit code. You go to your phone, you get the code, type it into the browser, and you're logged in. So this is a really easy way to make sure that bad guys who don't have access to your phone or your Authenticator app, they're not going to be able to get that 6-digit code, and they won't be able to access your account, even if they have your username and your password. So I highly recommend that you take a minute, set up two-step verification on your account and on your phone. It'll really help you stay safe. So with that, I'll leave the last minute or two here of my time to answer any final questions that may have come in on the Q&A app.
Yeah, at this point, no questions. But I would also like to underscore what Matt said about the two-factor security, the value of having something you know and then something you physically have makes your account that much safer. So if you have any questions about two-factor security or anything else, feel free to tap that Q&A app and let us know. So we're very happy to answer your questions.
And you can Learn More link to go to a whole site just about two-step verification to help you understand it better. I know it's a little confusing at first. So if there's no other questions right now, I'll just transition over to the Hangouts portion. Two of the Gmail tips and tricks actually do relate to Hangouts. And so I'll just touch on those real briefly before I hand it off to Lauren. First off, right in your Gmail inbox, you can chat with your coworkers. You'll notice in my inbox here, over on the left-hand side, there's a little widget here, and it'll let me chat just by clicking on someone's name here. So if I click on Patricia, for example, it'll let me start chatting right with her. Let's try this again here. Oh, this is the other thing I was going to show. If you switch to the new Hangouts, this is our new product that is fully supported, and it'll let you chat instantly and make video calls with your coworkers. So you just click that Try New Hangouts button, and let's wait for it. Try it one more time here. There we go. It reloads the inbox, and now I've got the new Hangouts. You'll see it pop up here in just a second, and I can start new chats right here. There we go. That's what it looks like. So I can just send this message to Patricia. She'll get it right away. And then the last item here is that also allows you to make video calls. So kind of like the video call we're on right now. It's a little different, but basically you can see face-to-face your coworker and chat with them in real time. So with that, I'll pass it off to Lauren to talk more about Hangouts.
Thanks, Matt. So kind of building on what Matt was saying previously, Hangouts are built on the idea that nobody should be left out of the conversation. So much in the way that Google's products are constantly integrating for a more seamless experience, Hangouts are an example of that philosophy of integration. So bringing people together on every level. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you so we can talk a bit more on topic. All right, so the key, with Hangouts is that everyone's invited. Just also for this presentation, we're going to talk about Hangouts as its own product. Hangouts, you might be most familiar with it in Google Plus or in Gmail. Hangouts has been built into different products, and it's kind of its own thing. It has many of its own features, many of its own special qualities. So we're going to go deeply into those today. So Hangouts, one thing you should know especially is that as part of the Google Apps suite, Hangouts is covered by Google's service level agreement of 99.9% uptime, which is really impressive. Anytime phone support for administrators, and Hangouts will also work with all Google account types. There are different Google account types. There are, for example, consumer Google account types like your Gmail address, and then of course there's your domains, Google Apps Gmail address. So Hangouts will work with all of these types. Okay, that being said, what exactly makes Hangouts so good for work? And again, this whole conversation today is really about bringing Google to work. So what makes Hangouts really good for work is that it allows users within an organization to securely communicate with others in that same organization. Hangouts for Google Apps also synchronizes seamlessly with other Google Apps services. You know them as Calendar, you know Gmail, Google+, Contacts, and you can hold multi-way Hangouts with up to 15 participants, whereas, for example, consumer accounts have a limit of 10 participants. So you've got a little more options and more features, great integration, and higher limits on your participants in that conversation. Google Apps also allows your organization to manage the user accounts used to access Hangouts. This is great for administrators who want to define organizational units and maybe let certain organizational units access Hangouts, others maybe not, and so administrators kind of have that control. And administrators can also perform other administrative features related to Hangouts that aren't offered, of course, in the consumer version. So whenever you want to check in with a teammate quickly in real time, just open a Hangout chat and reach out. You saw this with Matt's screen when he showed you he was able to reach out to a colleague type something quick and they would be able to see it. If you need to loop in the rest of the team, no worries, that's very easy. Just click the Create a Group Hangout icon to add participants. I'm going to show you really quick in my screen here what that looks like. So let's say I've been chatting with this colleague of mine, Cassie Smith. I can actually just click this icon here to add other users to our conversation. So here we are talking about the team all hands, looking forward to seeing her. Maybe we need to reach out to another colleague for a logistical detail. We would go ahead and do that there. So it's a great way to have those group conversations with the ease and facility of instant messaging, which is so handy. Extra features in the instant messaging include if you need to save details, just enable archiving for a conversation. I really like this whenever I'm having one of those really good chats with a colleague and they're giving me key information or great details and I need to make sure that I have this information for later. I can go ahead and select Hangout History. And this means that I'm able to have a transcript of this Hangout sent to me, post-Hangout. It'll be in my inbox. And I'm able to review this later on if we discuss something really key. Additionally, you can follow the faces to see who's read your message. So if you can see over here on the right-hand side in this screenshot, we can see that different people have caught up at different points in the conversation. And this allows you to see, you know, that delay or that hesitation, wondering, did they get my message? Did they see my chat? It kind of takes out that guesswork because you can see who's caught up and how far along they are in the conversation. And that's really handy to know whether or not you're communicating effectively and your point's getting across. Additionally, you also see in the screenshot here, you can attach images for a livelier conversation. In addition, you can include emoticons. Keep the conversation interesting, thoughtful, not just black and white in text, but actually break it out into images and even location sharing, which we'll get into in a bit. Actually, we'll get into right now. Instant messaging location sharing is one of my favorite features of Google Hangouts Instant Messaging. So imagine you're lost or you're late or both, but instead of craning your head around looking for building numbers and street names to figure out where in the world you are, you just use Google Maps within Hangouts to share your location with your party. And this is a great example of how Google's products are ever integrating for a more seamless and productive user experience. That map in that photo is actually shared as an image file. So it's really easy to see, and it's really lightweight to see where your colleague is, or meet up at a particular location. Also, just want to mention at the bottom here, you've probably seen these links on these slides. I've included relevant Help Center articles for you. If this topic is interesting to you, you want to learn more, go ahead and help yourself with those Help Center articles with that little raised hand emoji. You can find more information on these special features. All right. So video conferencing is another feature of Hangouts, which is really amazingly integrated and a lot of fun. It's great for collaboration, to get that face time with your colleagues so you can actually connect on that eye-to-eye level. So Hangout video calls in Google Calendar make it very easy for everyone in an event to join a video conference. There will be no scrambling for meeting codes, access pins, bridge numbers. Those are all things of the past. Now you can just go ahead and click that Join Meeting link there, you can see here in this calendar screenshot. Just click that, boom, you're in the Hangout. Really, really easy. And external participants can join too. External participants, however, must be invited directly to the event or video call to be able to join the meeting. That allows you the flexibility of inviting, say, a client to a meeting, but also restricting it to just those who should be at the meeting. So it gives you that security, but also that accessibility at the same time. Your participants will get an email invitation. They can click the URL in the email invitation. But again, if they're not added to the calendar event directly in the video call, they will not be able to join. So it's a great integration with Google Calendar there. Here's some more interesting stuff. So once you're actually in a video conference, now you're in a Hangout, a video Hangout, you can actually use this amazing suite of apps to enhance the Hangout. And there's fun stuff in there like Google Effects, and you can put masks on each other and doodle. But there's actual, getting to business kind of applications. For example, here we see in this screenshot that Google Drive is enabled, and this allows these 3 participants at the bottom of the screen to not only work on that Drive application or that presentation you see at the same time, but also to talk about it as they're working on it. So you're all familiar with the functionality of presentations and how you can collaborate together in real time. Well, this actually just puts a face on it, so you can actually see each other as you collaborate together. To use this Google Drive button, just click on the left-hand side. If it's not visible, you'll see those 3 dots at the very bottom of that column. Click Add Apps, and then find and select the Google Drive from there. And if you upload a doc that hasn't been shared with everyone in the video call, you'll be prompted to share it with the other participants so they can see and edit it. So none of that embarrassing, this file isn't shared with me, can you share it? As soon as you select to share it within the Hangout, you're prompted to make sure that it's shared with everyone. And when someone new joins the call, someone with sharing permissions will share the doc with them also. Just want to stop real quick and ask if there's any questions at this point. Matt on the Q&A app?
Not yet. There's no questions, Lauren.
All right. So just a reminder, go ahead and click that Q&A app and let us know if you have any questions. Anything in particular you want us to get into, we are here for you. So next slide here, going to talk a little bit more about video conferencing. So imagine you have that teammate, Lauren, who's doing field work in Montana, and they only have an iOS device. Will they be able to join your meeting? Kill the suspense. Of course they will. Hangouts are compatible with iOS, Android, and any platform that can open a browser and get online. So Lauren can join. On the right-hand side here, I have a little list of some of the different features that you can use within Hangouts and then the platforms that they're available on. Per this list, Screen Share and Chat and Hangout apps are available solely on the web, but everything else is available on iOS and Android. Additionally, if you have any different browsers, we keep up with all of the most popular browsers. I'll get into more of that later. But in the latest of the different operating platforms, Hangouts is very, very much available and very accessible from virtually anywhere. Okay, so Hangouts on Air, it's kind of a meta conversation because right now we are in a Hangout on Air. Hangouts on Air for organizations are really good for things like if you have a training that you want to preserve and make widely available and distributed, or maybe you have a global all hands and it's globally, so not everyone in every time zone can make it. Go ahead and put together a Hangout on Air. It's really easy, and it will be broadcast and saved to your YouTube channel in case participants weren't able to make it. And then you can later, after it's sent to your YouTube channel, you can edit it and then share the copy with your intended audience. And again, you have control over this. You own the Hangout. You're able to decide who sees it and kind of control access in that way, which is very important for your organization's information. All right, Chromebox for Meetings. This is a new feature. This is actually a hardware that actually works with these different applications. So it's really exciting to break out into hardware here. Chromebox for Meetings puts Google Hangouts and Google Apps in one place in this Chromebox hardware. As you can see in this picture, it's just this instant meeting room where everyone's available. So you have in-person FaceTime meeting virtual FaceTime. Everyone's not like crowding around their tiny laptop screen, but instead they're sitting openly and they're able to discuss things together in a meeting room. It's easy to set up. The Chromebox for Meetings hardware comes with Intel Core i7-based Chromebox, an HD camera, and a combined microphone and speaker unit and remote control. Simpler and faster meetings mean that you can just walk into the room, click the remote once, and you're instantly in the meeting. So there's, again, no more complex dial-in codes, no passcodes, no leader pins. You can even share your laptop screen wirelessly, and that's really, really handy. And you can add others from, you can add rooms, so calendar resources, and then add them directly from Calendar as well. And just like Hangouts that you're used to, up to 15 participants for a Google Apps domain can join the meeting. from other conference rooms, their laptops, even tablets or smartphones. If you need to meet with a customer who doesn't use Chromebooks for meetings, all they need is a Gmail account. So it's really easy to bring everyone into the conversation. You can also connect to rooms that have traditional video conferencing systems using our new tools from Video, and participants who prefer phones can join your meeting from a conference call number from Uber Conference. So even phone calls can join the conversation, and that's a really powerful feature. Just checking in quickly, Matt, are there any questions for me before I bounce into FAQs?
Looks like we got a quiet audience today. No questions.
All right, we must be doing a great job. All right, so I'm going to jump into some FAQs. These FAQs kind of have come from support requests to our Google Apps support team, and they've also come from feedback from viewers like you. We sent out a request for any questions in advance, and I'm attempting to answer as many of those as I can today. So I know you're raring to get started. When you want to enable the new Hangouts in Gmail, first it needs to be enabled by administrators. So administrators will do this via the admin console. They'll click the Google Apps suite, Talk/Hangouts, and then they'll be in the advanced settings. Select the domain or organizational unit that you want to configure the settings for, and in the Hangouts chat session, and select Enable Hangouts Chat for users in the organizational unit that you have selected. So you'll get a dialog window, read the terms and conditions and issues, make sure you agree with them. If you'd like to continue, check the acknowledge box and then continue to enable. Note that your users will have to go ahead and enable Hangouts themselves, and we'll get into that on the next slide. But this is how you set Hangouts up for your entire organization in Gmail. Okay, so for the end users, all they need to do is click on their profile photo at the top of the chat list, click Try the new Hangouts, and you saw Matt do this earlier. Gmail will refresh, and they'll be able to start using Hangouts. Easy as that. So we got this question, how do I remove someone from a Hangout? We have plenty of options to satisfy this request. So you can click on the options menu next to their photo tile. So you know everyone in a Hangout, there's like a small series, little row of photo tiles at the bottom. Go ahead and click the options menu next to their photo tile and then click eject. Now if you didn't want to eject somebody, you can also mute them. So if there's like background noise, somebody's chewing, there's a door slamming, dog barking, you can just mute them. They'll receive a notification that you muted them, and I will make sure that they don't persist in interrupting. You can also block someone in a Hangout if you don't want them to see you, you don't want to see them, if there's a reason that merits. And you can also just choose to ignore someone in a Hangout call. When you ignore someone for a single call, you and the person you ignored won't be able to see, hear, or interact with each other for the rest of the video call. In order to be able to see or hear them again, you and the person you ignored have to leave the current video call and start a new one. As opposed to blocking, the person will not be kicked out of the current video call, but they won't be able to join future video calls with you. During the remainder of the video call, you will not be able to see or hear each other, and they'll be able to see that they've been blocked. Cool.
Hey, Lauren. We've got a question from Josephina.
Hi, Josephina.
She wants to know how many users are supported in these Hangouts.
So the number of users that are supported depends on the type of Hangout. For example, this Hangout on Air, we have up to 8 participants who can all, we can all sit here like Matt and I, we can invite 6 more. We can all sit in here and have a conversation and then broadcast that to thousands. That broadcast means that the viewers on the other side are not able to actually participate live in the Hangout on Air, but they can ask questions just like Josephina did via the Q&A app. Now, for Hangouts that are not broadcast, so they're not Hangouts on Air, Google Apps editions can actually have up to 15 participants in their group Hangout. A group chat is significantly more than that. I believe it's close to 100. But with a video chat, Google Apps video chat, multiple participants is up to 15 users. Now that's 5 more than a consumer account, so it's nice. There's a nice bump there in limits for how many participants can join for your standard group video chat hangout. Cool. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and cool. We have answered Josephina's question. Great question, Josephina. Thank you for asking. All right. So how do I manage Hangouts with participants from various network speeds on different platforms? This is another question we received in advance of this live demo. And we have, if you see that link at the bottom again, that has way more information, way more specifics on exactly, the minimum requirements for the platform, for the bandwidth. It gets way more detailed, but this is just a high-level overview of basic bandwidth requirements, minimum processor requirements, and then our supported browsers and operating systems, which you heard me refer to earlier. So the current version and the 2 previous major releases of the following browsers are supported on a rolling basis, so we keep up to date. Google Chrome, of course, Internet Explorer, Mozilla, and Safari. The current version and the 2 previous major releases of these operating systems, Mac OS 10, Windows, Chrome OS, Ubuntu, and other Debian-based Linux distributions. So we keep up to date with the major browsers and platforms. And that's a wrap. So we'd like to thank you for watching Gmail and Hangouts. Please let us know how we're doing, what you thought of this live demo. You've got a short link right there at goo.gl/YO65T_v. And please just go ahead and let us know. We'll send that link out as well. But feel free to just submit the survey and give us some feedback. And also wanted to note that we have an upcoming live demo, Dive into Drive, Tuesday, September 2nd. So please join us for that. We're doing a demonstration of all the collaborative power of Google Drive. We're going to give real-life organizational examples. And we want to share with you the benefits of using Drive in your business, as well as some of the basics of the platform. So, oh, and all the file editors, the docs editors, docs, sheets, slides, forms, all that good stuff. So please join us for our next live demo. And we have some references and materials. We'll also be sending this out to you after this live demo.
Yeah, there's lots more to learn out there, so we'll send those links out. I did want to call out a few while we still have you today. And just a final point on the next live demo on Docs and Drive. That's at the same time next week, so 11 a.m. Pacific.
Yes.
So a few of the references that I wanted to make sure we call out are the support.google.com/a. That's our apps for admin help center. There's lots of information on there specific for our admins, and then you can also find some content for our end users as well. Also, there's a Hangouts specific help center, so that would be support.google.com/hangouts, and that'll be for anything related to Hangouts. And finally, one other item I wanted to call out is some of our coworkers here at Google have created a YouTube show called The Apps Show. It's on the Google Enterprise channel on YouTube, and I highly recommend checking it out. They've been doing an episode per week, and they give out lots of tips on how to use Google Apps for business. So I highly encourage it. It's a fun watch. It's pretty short.
Awesome. All right, if we have no more questions, I think we're, oh, and we have a question from Andrea. He just says, okay, see you on the next week. All right, we'll see you then, Andrea. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you all. Have a good day.
Cheers.